Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it's live and a link in the info box, so toss me a buck or two in there if you are enjoying these live streams. But most importantly, if you would like to join the debate, simply mute the page you are currently listening to, then click the link in the info box to join the discussion and express your views on the shape of the Earth. There are a couple of rules in the Hangout. Number one, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please share the show. Sharing the show increases the live audience, and this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show. And one last time, if you are new to the channel or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now, we do have Ranty and Anthony in the Hangout already. Hopefully Ranty's got back from making his cup of tea already. But how are you doing, Sleeping Warrior, first and foremost?
Good morning. All is well in the world. I watched the Adam Meakin debate last night, and I really like Adam, but then I found out he was a Nottingham Forest fan, and then kind of changed my views on him a little bit. So, other than that, we've had 3 videos released overnight, and I'll be addressing 2 of them pretty early on. So for those in chat waiting to basically keeping up to date with the Flat Earth Debate, then there's going to be 2 videos that we'll be discussing, and the third will be dismissed publicly. So other than that, we're all good. We're ready to go, and it's just a case of, is Ranty with us? No. Okay, so in that case, then we just fiddle for a little bit while he gets back. Yeah. So Adam Meakin last night. Quite a good, interesting view on the maths on a flat plane, would you say, Nath?
Yeah, I mean, you and I had heard it before that interview, so I've got a pretty good idea of what he was going to be saying in that, and yeah, I already agreed with him, hence I had him on.
I couldn't remember whether he actually addressed refraction in his maths last night. Did he mention refraction? I guess Nathan's sharing the show.
No, he didn't mention it as far as I can remember.
Yeah, that's where we're gonna have to catch him up with, because I think he missed it off. So, Adam, if you're watching, there needs to be an inclusion for refraction, because it is a bit of an issue. But obviously, refraction doesn't bend light around the curvature of the Earth. It just puts a little shimmer on the horizon that's like negligible. It isn't really even worth mentioning, but there are occasions where refraction becomes more prominent, and it seems to be to do with the angle of the sun, the relevant position in the sky relative to what the observer. Not saying it is. There is no science for this, folks. This is just us, what we're working out as we suck it and see. But we can tell you what refraction is not, and refraction is not bendy light. So, what else has happened in the last 24 hours? There wasn't any notable football yesterday, so there's nothing to talk about there. That's about it. So really, the opening part is going to be the 2 videos that we're going to talk about. Oh, M. Scott Veach in chat. Have you noticed that Mike West's changed his website? Basically the exact change that we were talking about on the call. So that's good. And other than that, we're pretty much good to go.
Did you see the video I sent to Chris with the sunset?
Yeah. Do you want to present that and show people? Because I want to ask you what you're referring to when you said a virtual horizon. So either tell us before or explain it afterwards, but tell us this virtual horizon thing.
Sure. Okay. So it hadn't occurred to me what was actually happening when I captured the video. I just thought it was interesting that I'd caught a sunset in midair. But since I've gone back and reassessed it, I'm not going to play it. It's not a great video. It was literally taken on the side of the road. I pulled over, put my phone onto like a telephone connection box thing, and just sort of wobbled away while I tried to film at distance because I was using the zoom on an iPhone. So it isn't a great video. I'm not going to play it. You feel free to look at it. I think it's called Beautiful Mid-Air Flat Earth Sunset is the title of the video. But in essence, what you've got by virtue of the topology of the land is a hill up the road from me, you're looking down at what can only be described as a virtual horizon. So it is below eye level because you're at the top of a hill. So as you look down on the land is falling away from you, and it seems like the horizon is very, very low. However, like at altitude, we still have a true eye level horizon. And as a consequence, that is where the sun sets. So it sets in midair, unlike where it should set on a globe, which would be behind the land, regardless of the topology. You know, the land is the thing that blocks the sun, therefore it should set behind the land. It doesn't. It sets behind the horizon, as you would expect on a flat plane. So the only reason we have a virtual horizon is just purely down to the topology of the land and perspective. So yeah, as a consequence, you get a mid-air sunset. I'm going to catch it again. It'll do it time and time again if I'm correct. If I'm incorrect, we will see the globe-shaped Earth come to fruition as it sets below the natural eye level horizon. So I will capture it again as the sun moves and moves further and further to that position as we get closer and closer to summer. I'll be able to capture it again. At the moment, it just doesn't set anywhere near that hill. But when it does, I'm just going to go and do a much better job of capturing exactly that.
Just want to respond to M. Scott Veach. He says that I make a big deal about talking about refraction when it's supposed to be negligible. Let me read what he actually said. I don't want to misquote him. M. Scott Veach, where are you? I've just read it.
The guy who sees holograms everywhere. Says the guy who basically says the only reason we can see things in the image is because they're being holographically projected by means of refraction. So we don't want to talk about refraction. We'd rather stick to the geometrics of your sphere that doesn't exist. However, you guys want to talk about refraction because it's the only reason we can see things in images like the image of the Isle of Man. So yeah, let's get it the right way around.
Yeah, I found his comment now. It says, it's weird how much he mentions refraction in order to tell us it's not worth mentioning. Well, it's by definition, it's by the word negligible. That's how it's described, negligible, right? And by way of contrast, I'm going to show you how negligible should be, because when we talk about how the horizon does or does not drop from eye level to the observer when you gain an altitude, the baller's position is that, well, it does, but it's such a small amount of horizon dip that you wouldn't notice it. Now, I would describe that as negligible. It is technically there, but it's so small or unimportant as to not worth calculating. And you can see that if we put in some distances, let's just put in 100 miles, and then the viewer height in feet should be 100 feet, 1,000 feet, for example. You can see that the horizon dip figure is horizon dip 0.56 degrees. So it is a value above zero. So it is something, not nothing, but it's 0.5 degrees. And the baller's position would be that, well, you wouldn't notice that with the... Oh.
Hello, Alan. How are you doing?
Potted.
Can you hear us, Alan?
So the baller's position is that 0.56 of a degree is so small or unimportant as to not you would never notice it. Well, that's the context that refraction should be seen in. It should be this kind of value attributed to refraction, because we know it has very little to no impact. So that's the reason why we should be talking about refraction. We should be talking about it comparable to the amount of horizon dip as per the curvature. You know, that when they say, oh, the horizon only dips by such a small amount that you wouldn't even notice it. Well, okay, so that's the comparison to refraction. It's negligible. Fair shout. That's the way we're going to use it. Ranty, are you back? No.
Yeah, I am.
Alan B, yeah, you got blocked. Open door debate, no thanks. Open debate, not thanks, Riley. Yeah, Alan B, that's because you kicked everybody the other day. You were let in, you spoke, you then kicked everybody, and then we had to start it up again. So because you are officially, practically, and uselessly a troll, then you're not going to come in. It's that simple. Oh, you have 2 subs, so you're not technically a troll. But yeah, you're not coming in, mate. It's that simple. Anyway, all I'm waiting for is Ranty to get back so I can present without being...
I am back.
Oh, when did you get back?
Well, I was back when Alan B was there.
Oh, right.
He did say.
Oh, I didn't hear. Sorry, I was too engrossed in describing how insignificant refraction was.
He's a bit quiet.
Ranty, you going to hold the fort whilst I present?
Yeah, no trolls will get in.
Yeah.
No snipers.
So if anybody joins and you want to stay in the hangout, then you need to speak straight away so that you don't get potted. Because people like Alan B pretend to be somebody that wants to come on an open debate so that it's not an echo chamber and then snipe everybody out. So although it is an open chamber and we can come in and we can all talk our views on the shape of the earth, if you come in and try and be a Trojan horse, you will be potted, Alan B. So yeah, you can pretend to be whatever you want, but if you're actually an imposter, you'll be potted. So speak as you join in so that we know that you're not a retard, and then everything's good.
I mean, he did offer an opinion. His opinion was we shouldn't be talking about the Isle of Man, and went into the number of hours that we talked about it. Yet he's still here and still joining. It's like, what part of vote with your feet didn't you understand?
All right. Miles Davis has released a video yesterday, and before I go into this, because I don't want to credit the guy with exposure, because I know by talking about it now, I'm crediting him with exposure. So I'm going to minimize it. I want to put this into context for everybody. So I'm going to only address Miles Davis because there is something of value in it. It wasn't total nonsense like I expected it to be. Oh, I'm not going to be able to share my sounds, am I?
Yeah, you should be able to, shouldn't you?
Pass-through doesn't work though when it's done through the Hangouts.
To be honest, it doesn't really matter with that Miles Davis video. There's nothing about the sound that you need.
Well, the sound is on this bit because this is where basically Miles is caught lying red-handed, and I wanted to play it so that you could hear. On the one hand, he claims that Ranty's lying because he's misidentified the Bibby Wave Master 1. Ranty corrects him and says, no, I said it wasn't the Bibby Wave Master 1. And basically Miles says that in a later show that Miles has changed his position and said that it wasn't the Bibby Wave Master 1. So on the one hand, at the beginning, he says it was the Bibby Wave Master 1. Then he says it wasn't, and he thanks Ranty for it. And you can tell by the way he speaks that he's smiling, and therefore he knows he's lying. And I wanted to show that because this is the level of the adultness that we are dealing with. But because the sound won't pass through until I get sniped, I'm not actually going to be able to do it, which is a shame because basically Miles is a liar. So I'll play this only on the understanding that everybody in chat realizes that I've got evidence, and I'll show Miles is an absolute black and white liar.
We can't get sound.
Why don't you join the Skype call?
I was just going to say, so pop yourself on mute. Just mute yourself in the Hangout, and then answer my Skype call. And then once we've done playing the audio, so pop yourself on mute.
That's what I'm like. I'm on snipe duty. It's like you're gonna have to go fast finger to beat me.
If that's ringing now, Nathan, I'm not seeing it.
Oh, is it not? I'll try again.
Is it ringing now?
Yep, should be.
No, it's not even. I'm not even getting a notify. It's not even on my phone. Let me ring you.
Okay.
Are you not seeing that, Nathan?
Yeah, it's coming through on one device, but not on the computer. Just let me just restart Skype on the computer. I don't know why it's
work.
Playing silly buggers, but it will work. Yeah. I've said it will, so it's gonna.
Riley is a serial liar. He would argue for the sky being green if a baller said it was blue. Nick thinks that maths is an empirical form of science. It's simply. I've asked Nick to give one example of where mathematics is empirical, and I'm waiting for an answer, and he hasn't got it. So Nick, feel free. Gotta grab a call. 1 sec.
Oh, well, it isn't me he's grabbing because I was dialing him.
So I noticed you had a QED, not a QED, but a flat Earth last night.
Oh, a flat Earth UK, yeah.
Adam Meakin.
Yeah, good guy. You've spoken to him before?
Yeah. We was on his radio show, weren't we?
Yeah, my kid's just messing around, hence I'm going on mute quite a lot. Yeah, he was a good guy. You know, we all heard his opinions before on TFR and afterwards, after the show had finished. So we pretty much got to know what he was about, if that makes sense. Oh, here we go. There we go. Now I've got you. Okay, do you want to just play your audio just so we can come out of Skype as quick as possible?
Sure.
No, you haven't shared your Skype sounds. You're still got to share them.
Hang on. Get him. Oh, hang on, I need to be on there though now. Am I echoing for you, or is it just me?
Yeah, it's because you've got two windows open. One is your Google Plus. So you've got two mics open in essence, but it's just one of those things. We will get there. We will.
Okay, then. So let's try it. Screen and sounds. Just let me know if this is working.
No, crazy feedback. No. Crazy feedback.
Terrible echo.
Maybe drop from the Hangout and then just rejoin the Hangout in a second. And I'll share your Skype screen instead.
Right, is that working?
Yeah, there's no feedback. I just need to share your Skype screen and then... There we go. So now we've got sound and picture.
Great. All right, so the background to this is Ranty put out a video about an observation. And originally, I'd suggested, once he'd posted the video, I'd watched it live because it wasn't contentious at the time. I'd watched it from his Hangout, and I said I didn't think that boat was the same boat. And Ranty said, why? And I said, because the railings on the front of it don't match. Now, it was only a very small part of it, but it was enough for me to question it. And Ranty agreed in the end, and he said, well, all right, I'll just change it in the description. So he changed it within the hour. However, Miles had noticed it and decided to make a big deal out of it. Now, it was fundamentally a correction to a non-contentious issue, right? Nobody had mentioned it whatsoever. And Miles then not only started to smear Ranty, completely unjustified, because he was correcting a mistake. That's all it was. But Miles had made it into a really big deal. Now, the background to this is the first part of this clip is Miles saying that he's saying, I didn't say it was the Bibby Wave Master 1. And then back in time over Christmas, it shows where Miles is saying it was the Bibby Wave Master 1 and Ranty was a liar. So initially he says it's not, and then he says it is back at Christmas. So just listen to the context and listen to his words, and it's black and white. You don't get any clearer than this. This is literally a lie. It's black and white wrong. But what's the point? The key point for me is the point where he says, thanks, Ranty, and you can tell that he's smiling, and you can tell that he knows that he's lied. Okay? That's the key difference between a mistake and a lie. One is an intention to deceive. The other one is a mistake. We all make mistakes. I make mistakes. When I get called out on them, if I make a mistake, I've got to correct myself and say, yeah, okay. And I did it with Jeremy. Jeremy did say feet. He didn't say meters. But in any event, so this is Miles afterwards saying, I didn't say it was the Bibby Wave Master 1.
Still got no sound.
Oh. Right, let me stop sharing and then share screen and sounds. Right, this should now work.
Where's my apology, Miles?
That work?
Nope.
What the hell? Why is the sound not passing through? Maybe it's me. Let me restart my Skype. Why is it doing this? This is madness. Mine restarted last night and I had an update and then rah. Damn it. Give me 1 sec while I restart my Skype.
No worries.
This is
to
nonsense.
put it all into context, I released a video, and in the description, I'd named the names of the two boats that were in the description. Sorry, in the video, and one of them I'd named as the Bibby Wave Master 1. And basically, within an hour, I'd changed the description, altering it from naming it the Bibby Wave Master 1 to just a generic fishing boat, because that's clearly what it was. And then maybe a week later, over the week, I kept getting message in my, on the comment section saying, "Why are you lying? It was the Bibby Wave Master one." And then I would delete the comment because it wasn't correct. And then there'd be another one pop up, and another one pop up, and another one pop up. Eventually, Miles Davis was the one that said, "Yeah, I was the one that kept on nipping in on different accounts, questioning why you changed it from Bibby Wave Master one. Clearly, it is the Bibby Wave Master one." He then did a hangout on me, saying that it was a Bibby Wave Master one. And then he did, he hijacked your Christmas show as well, Nathan, at the end to jump on me and call me a liar, saying that it was the Bibby Wave Master one, when basically it wasn't. And even now he admits it wasn't. And then he lied about saying that he had called it the Bibby Wave Master one. It was totally a smear campaign. It was like he did 3 hangouts on this, including my name in it. So it was sort of like making such a big issue out of something that I'd changed within an hour in my description. Nothing to do with the video. It was just the name of the boat. I mean, he's delusional.
Yeah, I think smear campaign's the best way to describe that.
Yeah, it was. It was totally unfounded. It wasn't. It certainly wasn't worth even. It might have been worth a passing comment, and that would have been it. And I could have gone, well, after reviewing it, it wasn't the correct boat. As you can clearly see, it isn't the same boat. Simple as that. But he then decided to think that he spent a whole week harassing me, saying that it was, did a hangout on me, hijacked your show, saying it was the Bibby Wave Master one. And then after maybe he did 2 or 3 more hangouts on this, and then he came to the conclusion, actually, it isn't the Bibby Wave Master one. And then when I asked him for an apology in your hangout, he said, "Oh no, thanks, Ranter. Thanks for saying I never said it was the Bibby Wave Master one. You're the liar," something like that. I think Anthony's got the clip. But ultimately, it was just ridiculous. And yeah, it's poor form. Really poor form.
Yeah, that's what the name of the game is. It seems from a lot of the Globers. Make the person who's presenting evidence seem. Hold on, Anthony's calling me back. Bear with me.
Okay. Mars, hello.
Hey guys.
Hi, P.
I went to a Flat Earth hangout yesterday, and I just said, "Hey guys," and all of a sudden, all these people started attacking me. I was called a reality denier. Everyone was making me justify my belief. I said, I believe in the globe. I can't prove it's a globe, but I believe in it. And it wasn't good enough for them. They were all being really mean to me. And then one of the flat earthers seemed actually open-minded, right? And he goes, "Hey guys, all PMAR said was hi. Maybe we shouldn't hate on him. That's kind of ridiculous. We should, treat people with respect." And then, so instead of attacking me, they started attacking that flat earther. They're like, "Oh, why are you defending him?" And yeah, it was quite the spectacle of behavior.
What channel was that? Can you remember?
I think it was Jamie Brown's. So
I'm sorry to hear that. It happens on both sides. It has to be said.
Yeah.
So you're on now, Sleeping Warrior. If you wanted to play, let's see if we actually get some sound this time. If not, we're going to give up.
Yeah, we'll give up if we don't.
Where's my apology, Miles?
Did that work?
I think so, yeah.
Good. So oh, hang on a sec. Someone's knocking at the door. 1 sec.
Finally get it working. Phone calls and door knocks.
Perfect timing.
Yeah.
Yeah, females, we get that. We get that. If I go into a Ball Earth hangout and just say hello, within a minute, I've had 30 messages to me calling me this, that, and the other. So.
Yeah, and obviously they always say, "Why don't you come in and talk to us?" And it's like, well, we're here for 2 hours every day, and you don't come in. And I know that you're on the amnesty at the minute, but nonetheless, we are here. You can come in and talk to us, and we will talk to you. But we ain't going to do it on your show. We're not going to do it on Discord because it's just full of idiots. It's literally that simple. Anyway, right. So The first bit is basically Miles saying that was basically the first bit is Miles denying that he said that it was the Bibby Wave Master 1. The second part is Miles showing that he's a liar. So
Should I interrupt and cause another delay just for comedic effect?
I know, I'm sorry.
Where's my apology, Miles?
For?
Come on, where's my apology? You know what for?
For what?
Bibby Wave Master 1. Was I correct in saying that it wasn't the Bibby Wave Master 1 and you said it was? You
Yes, I was correct in saying it wasn't the Bibby Wave Master 1. I was
Hang
also
on,
correct
wait,
in telling you
oh,
what it
Nathan,
was.
would you like to play the Christmas show?
Cheers, Ranty.
All right, so basically he's stating his position. He was correct in saying that it wasn't the Bibby Wave Master 1. And just listen to the very last bit that's here. Cheers, Ranty. And you can tell that he's smiling in his voice, and it's all to do with the way it's presented rather than the facts of the matter.
That it was. You
Yes, I was correct in saying it wasn't the Bibby Wave Master 1. I was
Hang on,
also
wait,
correct in telling you what it was.
Would you like to play the Christmas show?
Cheers, Ranty.
All right, so he was correct in saying that it was a Bibby Wave Master 1. Cheers, Ranty. Now let's hear what actually was said in the Christmas show. And this is Ranty basically being called every name under the sun in such a vitriolic way. This is Miles's position at Christmas.
This is the ferry on the right. And
Yep.
the boat on the left, you said, was the Bibby Wave Master 1.
That was my
Would you
original.
like me to show you? I would like to show everybody a picture.
But it
of
isn't the
pictures
Bibby.
of
No, wait a
the
minute.
Bibby Wave Master 1.
Which it isn't.
It is.
No, it is not. It's a trawler
Yes,
boat.
it
It's
is.
actually a crab boat.
No, it's not, Ranty.
Yes, it is.
You're
No,
lying.
that's why I removed it from the.
Lie about
No, wait a
something like
minute.
this.
When I
Ranty, can I
first-
finish a sentence?
Yeah, I'm
About
not.
60
Listen, when I
seconds left.
first released this video, I'd put it in there. I thought I'd identified both boats.
You are lying.
out again.
When I went back and
You are
within an
lying,
hour,
Ranty.
within an hour of putting
Oh.
the
All right, so he's quite clear there saying that it was the Bibby Wave Master 1, and he was very vitriolically pointing out that Ranty was lying. You are lying, Ranty.
he also did a hangout, a complete hangout called "Is Ranty the New Lily?" And that has him completely saying that it is the Bibby Wave Master 1. I think it's about an hour-long hangout where he's.
And then he
saying
did
that it
another
is the
video
Wave Master
subsequent to that. So not only did he start off with the wrong assertion in the first place, because it wasn't the Bibby Wave Master 1, which coincidentally means that I was correct in saying that it wasn't the Bibby Wave Master 1, and Ranty was correct to change it. It also means that when it comes to him stating his position and then that turning out to be wrong, rather than correct his position and say, do you know what, guys? Yeah, I'm sorry, I got it wrong. It would have been dropped, but he carried on and he maintained the lie. So this is the final part where, just to summarize it again.
Was I correct in saying that it wasn't the Bibby Wave Master 1 and you said it was?
Yes, I was correct in saying it wasn't the Bibby Wave Master 1. I was
Hang on,
also
wait,
correct.
play the Christmas show.
Cheers, Ranty.
So cheers, Ranty. You can tell he's lying. He's smiling.
I would like to show everybody a picture.
But it
of
isn't the
pictures
Bibby.
of
No, wait a
the
minute.
Bibby Wave Master 1.
Which it isn't.
It is.
No, it is not. It's a trawler
Yes,
boat.
it is.
It's actually a crab boat.
No, it's not, Ranty.
Yes, it is.
You're
No,
lying.
that's why I removed it from the.
Lie about
No, wait a
something
minute.
like this.
When I
Ranty, can I
first-
finish a
Ranty,
sentence?
don't
See, black and white, he's got two different positions. And
Was I correct in saying that it wasn't the Bibby Wave Master 1 and you said it was?
Yes, I was correct in saying it wasn't the Bibby Wave Master 1. I was
Hang on,
also
wait,
correct.
play the Christmas
Cheers,
show.
cheers, Ranty.
now that's black and white lying. There's no other word. There's no other way to describe it. It's black and white lying. I'm going to drop this call and join straight back into chat.
Yeah, and just a side note on that, he has left those videos up, so you can all go and watch them. I think it's Is Ranty the New Lily, where he does the entire hangout saying that it was the Bibby Wave Master 1 and how I was lying to my subs to deceive them intentionally, this, that, and the other, and that I was, basically lying, for lack of a better word, when all I'd done is just change the description in the name of from one boat to another within the hour of uploading the video. And he made such a big dance about it and hijacking your Christmas show as well, Nathan, to be fair, because I'd just done a presentation, hadn't I? I think it was the first time I was on your show, and I'd done a 20-25 minute presentation. And
joined
right at the end, he came on to try and discredit me by calling me a liar.
Yeah, that was his only aim, and clearly he was lying. He was the one that was deceiving people. He was the one that was lying.
Yeah, and he still never apologized. He still left the videos up. And, it's just completely dishonest. It's smearing. and I don't like that. But anyway, so yes, so he's done a hangout, I believe, yesterday, or put a video up yesterday about Anthony now. So I think Anthony's going to discuss that when he gets in.
You can't get him back in the hangout apparently, so I'll call him back in on Skype.
You can't get back in the hangout?
Yeah, I don't know why. He's having computer problems.
Right, okay.
Gonna be one of those days.
Oh. I guess he'll call you when he's ready.
I think so.
Yeah, so I think there was three Ball Earthers put videos out yesterday.
I thought it was just 2, Miles Davis and Sly Sparkane, from my comments.
No, there was Gem Panda put one out today.
Oh, Gem Panda did one. What did Gem have to say?
Oh,
You're a liar and the observer height's wrong, yeah?
Sorry?
Let me guess. You're a liar and the observer height is incorrect.
Oh, yeah, all that kind of stuff.
That was ridiculous.
And
We have managed to get
it
Sleeping
seemed
Warrior
like
back
it
in the
was a
hangout.
concerted
Very good.
effort to do all three at the same time.
I don't know, maybe. We'll see if Anthony's actually got a working PC. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I think so. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
No, can't hear you.
That's nonsense. It wouldn't let me rejoin. It said that you are barred from joining this call, and I was like, no, I'm not. So I had to shut down. I had to leave the hangout, then rejoin the hangout. It's nonsense. It's just ridiculous. Right, let me get this. There we go. That's what I need. Pop that out. Dump that back into its hidey hole for it. So it should be right. So now right. So long as everybody understands that the presentation I'm about to do is based on a liar, literally a black and white flip flopper, like Wallace in the Bedford Levels experiment. As long as you all understand that, I'll proceed on that basis. There's really nothing in here of any value. This is all rhetoric, which is basically Riley's lying, Ranty's lying, and he claims that the original Isle of Man video has been debunked immediately. I mean, that's the only point that I want to pick up on. He says that it's been debunked immediately. And right, you are all bang up to date right now. If it's been debunked, we're not aware of it. Nobody's debunked it. So it's nonsense. It has not been. It's not been debunked at all. They're claiming it's been debunked, but it simply hasn't. And he basically claims that the videos, our claims, have evolved with new claims, and they haven't evolved all new claims. My position has been exactly the same now as what it was right at the start. The video stands on its own 2 feet, in its own footprint, and by its own merit. Okay. So whatever claims are in there, sure, they've been discussed and debated and stuff, but there are no new claims and there are no evolved claims other than there's been discussion at length, and we now can establish certain facts. So he's trying to make it out that I'm changing my position, and I'm not. I'm maintaining my position. Each time Ranty and Riley shows a clip to be false, a new claim was made. It's not true. Riley's not shown. Nobody has shown any part of the evidence is false. Secondly, I haven't changed my position. So it's literally nonsense. Anyway, I'd like to point out to people that Miles and Al K have both been back to St. Bees to try and debunk me, right? And they haven't produced any evidence that debunks any part of it at the moment. Now, this is where we get to the final, basically, it's the final 3 pictures. So we can see by this picture that Miles has taken, this is the visibility he had on the day. So you can see clearly that, I mean, it's pretty. It's more artistically impressive than mine. He's got like an orangey, yellowy coloured sky. But you can't see any definition in the picture, okay? And then the next picture he flicks onto is this. Now, this is where we need some comparisons, because whatever Miles's next video is about, he's going to be criticizing with his evidence mine, which would be great if it was comparable. Now, what I'm going to show you is what Miles has on screen right now. I'm going to show you the equivalent piece of footage that I got, and we can see the infamous tuft of trees. Down here, we can see Miles's tuft of trees.
Shout out to tuft of trees.
Yep. Big shout out to tuft of trees. So what I'm now going to show is my evidence with the tuft of trees, but most notably, what else I got in the footage. I'm just getting it to the relevant part. So here we see tuft of trees, and we see this little bit, and we see that landscape, the shape of that land. So in this, there we see tuft of trees. There's the bit in the middle, and there's actually, I think it's that bit there. I'm a little bit too zoomed in. If I make that a bit smaller, you should now see that tuft of trees, the bit in the middle, and there's that landscape. Okay, so there we have tuft of trees. There's the bit in the middle, and there's that landscape. Now notice what Miles shows, that he doesn't get any further than that. Now please remember what my original claim was. It was just that it was an exceptionally clear day with the P900. That's all the claim was, and it was an exceptionally clear day. So on that basis, if it wasn't as clear as what I said it was, then you would expect somebody to get less. So this is what Miles got. And now compared to what I got, Miles' stops about here. I don't think Miles gets these lights in. Miles seems to bend away here. So if you can see it there, you can see it basically stops. Now mine carries on way off the screen. So mine goes all the way to here. So as you can see, this is evidence, real world evidence, that Miles' stops about here. Mine goes on way down here.
You clearly have a longer one than Miles.
Yeah. Now this isn't dick swinging. This is literally compare and contrast. I've got the tuft of trees there, but I've got all this other land, way more land, and it only stops here. Miles, however, Miles stops just after the tuft of trees. So the question becomes, what's the quality of evidence? Now, forget about me saying that I'm bigger, better, faster, stronger. Miles' stops there. So on that basis, what do you think the conclusion that Miles comes to as a direct result of his evidence is likely to be? Because he can't see all this. This doesn't exist. For Miles, this is curvature. Miles will argue that this is... Are we still in?
Yeah, he's still here.
Oh, so he's... Right, okay. So Ranty... Well done, Ranty. I didn't see him because I was busy. So Miles is going to assert that this is entirely consistent with a spheroid Earth. That's going to be his position. So if he didn't have any evidence better than this. So if that is the position, then what if he argues that this is entirely consistent with a spheroid Earth? What's this consistent with? So preemptive strike there. Miles is going to be using defective and inferior evidence to make assertions, and he's going to try and make out that it's completely supporting spherical Earth, and therefore I in somehow way was wrong. Then why are you using evidence that's inferior? The other piece of information that he shows, I mean, there you can see it. Look, there's tuft of trees, and there it drops down. And then the only other piece of information that's useful in here is where he takes a picture of the cliffs right at the start. And I'm just trying to remember where exactly it was. I think that was it. Nope. And what Miles is trying to show here is the height of the hills. Now, my position, of course, is that I was stood at 52 feet. Miles's position.
Hi, Renee. How are you doing?
Hi.
Good to have you.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Not right at the second, mate. I'm in the middle of something. Just hang fire a sec. So Miles's position is that these cliffs are like, we'll put it this way, to see Mackle Lighthouse, these need to be in excess of 150 feet. Okay. Now, that appears to be the bloke, Miles or whoever, that must be Alki. Now, wherever Miles is there, I don't recognize that land there to be where I was. So I'm not sure what that is. But in any event, if that's where I'm supposed to be just from the different angle, he's trying to show that by having the camera as low as possible to the pebbles, he's making it out as though in some way that they appear to be taller than what they actually are. Fundamentally, if you're going to make a claim about the height of these cliffs, you're going to have to measure them, and measure them with a tape. You can't measure them with dioptra and angles and nonsense like that, because that's calculating the height of them, and we need to measure them. There is a big difference between calculating the height of the cliffs and measuring the height of the cliffs. So, I mean, this is a moot point, because I need to be at 150 feet to be able to see Mackle Lighthouse. So all the nonsense that was generated by one or two people, it's noise, because I need to be 3 times higher. And the reality is, unless you've actually measured it, a calculation won't be proving anything. So with regards to Miles, I'm going to wrap that one up on Miles because he doesn't need any more exposure because he's literally dishonest. He's a liar. I think what I'll do is I'll pass to Renee if he's going to be depending on what he wants.
I'm still here. I'm still here. I like to show one picture, and then I'm out.
Okay, Renee, go on. You got the mic.
Yeah. Can you see me?
Yep.
You can see two pictures on top of each other. One's the one in the bottom is your picture, and the top one is from Google Earth. You have this down here, Baldwin. You identified Baldwin, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Baldwin is here.
Correct.
These trees here are this rectangle here. Is that correct?
No.
I don't know. You're making the assertion.
But
Yeah, I'm asking you.
No.
What is your opinion about this piece of
My answer is
contour?
no. That is not the correct tuft of trees. No.
Okay. Where is it?
it says
Well, you
Douglas
said-
Head.
you
Says
said-
on it Douglas
I have
Head
to
in massive
go.
letters.
I'm
You
sorry.
said yesterday that was the tuft of trees, so we were working on what your assertion was yesterday.
Yeah. But so, have you identified this piece here?
Yes.
And where is it?
On Douglas
Is it
Head.
on this map?
On Douglas Head, as it says on the picture.
But no, Douglas Head is right here, beside it.
No. So not only have we identified it, we've had several people from the island of Man confirm that that is indeed Douglas Head. It's also been lined up accurately on our scale and represented on numerous occasions. It is
Okay.
Douglas Head.
I could show you if you'd like, but
No point in doing
Okay.
it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just curious about. Yeah. Okay. No, I don't have anything else to say right now. I have to do some more research.
all right. Well,
Okay.
whilst you're there, Renee, I don't mind giving you 2 or 3 minutes to show you what we believe it is, because it matches.
I don't have the time. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, look on
No
Douglas
worries.
Head.
Thank you
And
for
look at
showing
the
what you've shown there,
buildings
Renee.
that
I
are
really
on Douglas
appreciate
Head.
it.
Yeah. You listen. I'll drop off now. You can just continue talking.
Sure. Well, whilst
Yeah,
you drop, just look on Douglas Head, and you'll see the 3 lights are on the end of Douglas Head, and you can see tufted trees next to them. It sits perfectly on the landscape, and it matches the evidence. So that's
Right.
how we came to the conclusion that we came to, because it matches, and it has to match.
Big shout out to Renee. Thank you very much for joining and presenting that. I can see you working away very hard. It may be worth scrolling through some of the old hangouts. Just saying.
Well, just watch the QED.
Yeah, just watch QED. That QED identifies our position perfectly. You don't need to go through all the hangouts. You just need to watch QED. That'll tell you exactly what our current position is, and it hasn't changed. It hasn't changed from what it was at the start. It hasn't changed from what it was in the middle. It hasn't changed at the end, and it's still current.
Well, it's still evolved. I'll be, originally there was errors here and there. Of
Oh, yeah,
course,
there was
it
evolution,
was a case of
but there were no new claims.
evolving thing. It was only when we got the picture, and was able to draw out all the details on it that we was able to piece things together properly. We had a good idea of what was what. Originally in the very early stages, it was a bit haphazard, but it was an evolving thing. We can't say we had it correct from the get-go because we didn't. We assumed and we were pretty sure it was Ireland, but identifying individual things on the island was difficult with the image that we were using at the time, if you remember.
So now I'm going to move my attention from Miles and from Renee to Sly, because he's put out a short video about the smokestacks. Now, Sly's come to this very late on, and it's clear that he's come to it very late on, because he's basically, I don't think he's actually seen the evidence to support the idea that it is actually a structure.
Sorry, can I just interrupt a second? Could you be a bit more condescending in your tone, please?
Sorry, Sly's an idiot. He's late to the table, and he's made a rookie error, which is based on ignorance. And rather than ask for evidence to support the idea that they're a smokestack when I spoke with him, He's just made the assertion that the smokestacks don't actually exist and I've misidentified them, which is okay if you're going to be ignorant, but if you're going to be genuine and sincere, you really need to be clear with your facts. So what I'll do now, before we play Sly's video, I'm going to show you the actual evidence. Now, it relies on this actually coming through on the Hangout. I don't know whether this will actually come out in the Hangout, but Sly, if you're watching, you can get a copy of this. It's on my. I'll send you a link, and you can get the videos and you can watch it raw. It's not been edited in any way. It's just been put right off the camera. And what this basically shows is there are stacks in the image. There is a structure that looks a lot like a tall chimney. There is what appears to be smoke coming out of the tall chimney. And because there appears to be smoke coming out of it, and it appears to be a chimney with in a position that is not consistent. I mean, you can see it here, Sly. Okay, you can use this to cross-reference. Now, the position is...
So, pause it when you get to what you think's your best shot, and I'll make the picture nice and big. Just let me know.
So, you guys all believe that this is Isle of Man. Now, my position is that this is not the Isle of Man, because you can see there is a structure clearly in the evidence. You can see it. It's there. You can see that there appears to be smoke coming off to the right. Now, the problem with this is there are no chimneys on the north side of Isle of Man. There is a structure of some kind in the evidence, okay? There is smoke coming out of it. But we also
just circle it. Sorry, can you just, rather than moving your mouse actually over it, can you circle it? Does that make sense with your mouse pointer?
Yeah.
Once you get a nice clear...
There we go. Get a better picture of it.
There we go.
There we go. So there is a structure in the image.
Could you just clarify that Sly's position is exactly the same as when he spoke to you, which is to say he just denied the evidence?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know whether he's ignoring this or whether he just can't see it because it's like, you know, like when you turn on Nelson's eye, if you can't see something happening, then you say you can't see it. We can't prove that you can see it. But what my position is, there appears to be something here, maybe not, but there is a structure here and there is smoke coming off it in this direction.
Haven't you got the high res ones, Ranty? You did some high contrast versions of this.
I was gonna do that exact thing.
Oh, okay, cool. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of you. I'm sorry. I'll shut up.
Yeah, it's okay. Now, bear in mind, I didn't see the chimneys at the time. That's why I didn't film it properly. Now, what I have done is I have made a high contrast version of the same file, which is this one, in an attempt to try and pull the information out. I think this is the other file. It won't matter because you can see it. Right, so there's one of the chimney stacks. You should see them. They're all in this kind of area here, and you can see the smoke. So let's turn the speed down. Playback speed slower. Now the issue is, that's the other file. I might have to open the other file. Yeah, I'll get the other file. It's a better version of. One sec. Bear with me one sec. So if it's not that one.
Hey, Jazzaconda. How you doing?
All right, Ranty, I've just accidentally shut down me...
Can you say hello, Jazzaconda? Oh,
hello.
Jazzaconda joining and leaving.
Yeah. Just bear with me while I find the file, because I've shut it down and I didn't mean to shut it.
Hello again, Jazzaconda. Can you say hello? Hello?
Yeah, g'day, mate. Sorry about
Good
that.
day. Hello. You're a real person. Hooray.
Yeah, sorry about that.
This is the file. So for the benefit of Sly, and only Sly, the assertion is that there are structures in the evidence and that you can see them. They are not something other than structures. They are there. So they're in this area here, Sly. So in relation to the boat, they're just to the left of it. You can see them. 1, 2, 3, and there appears to be smoke coming off. All 3 of them, all headed in the same direction. They are there. They are part of the evidence. They are there. Now, my position is that's not Isle of Man. That's Ireland. My other position is that this may well be Isle of Man, and I'm not against it being the Isle of Man. However, it does line up with something else. But my other position, in addition to that little bit, if this is Isle of Man, the only part of Isle of Man we're seeing is this bit, this ridge that goes down here and then drops down to there, because these would be the hills at Bride, And this would be the trees that are in Bride, which Sly seems to have identified in his video. So let's be clear, this could be Isle of Man, but it's the only part of Isle of Man that it can be. The rest of it can't be because it's too low. There is no elevation for it to be. This is the highest part of Isle of Man on the north. So let's Sly's video for a moment. What Sly does is...
hello, how you doing? Is that we've been joined by the actual Tim Osmond? Hello?
That wasn't the real Tim.
I've booted him. Didn't say hello. Got to say hello if you join. Big shout out to Sarah for supporting me by clicking the link in the info box. Thank you very much.
So basically what Sly is trying to show here, right? This is the point that he's making, right? This stack of trees, I'm not going to call it tough trees, but I'm going to call it this like wooded area. This is what he's claiming is what I've identified as my smokestacks. Now, I find that preposterous that he would think, and it can only be because of an ignorant position. It can only be because he thinks smokestacks there. But there are 3 structures there that are evidenced in the evidence. They are there, Sly. So it's not that I'm misidentifying it. Now, basically, what Sly thinks is that in relation to the stitch, if I can show that part where he, I don't know whether I can show it actually. No, I can't. So he hasn't showed it. I'll have to show it on mine. Right. So what I've done is I've done what Sly's done, which is identified the stack of trees or this little bit of wooded land, and I've put a polygon around it so that A, it stands out, and B, you can see it in relation to everything else. Now, Sly can check this, double check this with what I'm saying. I've identified the part that he's identified, which is this area. And what I've done is I've just put a flat plane across the top of it so it stands out. A, you can see that it's bending down, so it's on a hill. It's not flat. B, these are the trees, so you can imagine what trees on a hill would look like. But what's most important is in relation to this stitch thing, this like this hill front, this golden coloured hill front. You can
Riley's,
see...
hello?
Can you hear us?
Hello?
Say hello. No, he's gone. Hopefully he's not kicked anybody.
No.
I'm still here.
Still here, Jazz?
Yeah, still here, mate.
Good, good, good.
So I'll just carry on in, well, now that I'm not... right, so in relation to this stitch, right, you can see that what Sly's identifying as a set of trees as the chimney stacks with smoke coming out of them, he's put them relative to this stack. He's put them immediately to the left, okay? So if these are the smokestacks, get rid of this, because I don't need that anymore. It would mean that when we go back to the actual evidence, which I'll get up this one, so you're looking for the smokestacks that are immediately to the right of that stitch. So let's just see whether that lines up in any event, because this will tell you whether it's right or not.
Kovacs, hello?
Hello.
That wasn't enough, that. Do you want to speak again, mate?
Hello?
Hello.
How can we help you?
Yes. Hi.
How can
You're not
we
going
help
to
you?
snipe me, are you, just while I'm about to make a good point?
No, I apologize. I just came on. No, I won't.
Cool, okay.
Well,
let me
let's see what he wants.
point and we'll come
How
across
can we
to it.
help you, Joe? What can we do for you?
Well, let me make my... Yeah, because he might snipe me.
Yeah.
Come on, Joe. What?
I've got rid of him. You know, if you're just going to join to say I'm just here to be here, it's like, well, sod off. You know, if you've got a good point and you want to disagree or you want to discuss the shape of the Earth, clearly you've got enough intonation to join. You must have a point to make. If you're just here to just say nothing, don't get me wrong, there's exceptions. Jazz has been on before. He will wait patiently and he will make his points at the end. But if you're a new guest, don't just say I'm here. Well, here for what? You know?
Well, just give us a little line so that we don't think that you're a troll and I'm not going to kick everybody. So just tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, why have you joined? What do you want to say? You know, I interrupt the people who are doing something and saying something to say hello, and your response is, yeah, I'm here. Oh, right, well, that's good. Thanks for being here. We don't really need
Joe,
you to be
can you
here
tell
and
us
just
if
sit there.
you think the Earth's a ball or whether you think the Earth's flat?
Anyway, do you want to carry on?
No, I think he should be kicked.
He's already been kicked.
Oh, was he? Sorry,
Yeah,
I didn't realize he'd gone. Right, okay. So, Sly. All right, so Sly's identified this patch of trees as the stacks. Relative to this stitch, they are immediately to the right. Now, I'm not going to put the line of sight in. It doesn't. You can see that it's directly relative to it. It goes off in this kind of angle. But we see in the evidence that there's the stitch that I'm quite happy could well be Isle of Man. But then you see that there are a little tuft of trees on the top of the line there, which is my position that this is Isle of Man. This could well be Isle of Man. It does appear to match. So my position is if Sly's identifying this tuft of trees relative to this stitch, that would line up perfectly with this set of trees relative to the stitch. So it appears that Sly's simply identifying this set of trees here, which I'm quite happy to accept may be Isle of Man. But the issue is, what's all the rest of the land that can't be Isle of Man because it's too low, and I'll show that in a sec. But relative to the smokestacks that are just to the left of this, the chimney, you can't see it here because it's not been contrasted for it. But clearly they're nowhere near it. So these are the little trees that Sly's identifying, and I'm happy that this could be Isle of Man. But the rest of the picture, Isle of Man stops on a scale. If you do the scale, Isle of Man stops there. So even if you argue that all this is Isle of Man, when you use that scale that we use for this and you put this clump of trees in, then the Isle of Man stops here, and which is consistent with this little band of triangular refraction that sits there. But all the other land is not Isle of Man. So no, Sly, you've got it wrong. I haven't misidentified stacks as trees. You have. They don't line up with the evidence. It's wrong. And even if it did line up with the evidence, it supports only that this part could well be Isle of Man. But this bit doesn't. And the stacks that are here doesn't. So if we've identified these set of trees here relative to this, which I'm quite happy may well be this, because I think that you may see Bride, you may see this area. Where's the smokestacks? Because the smokestacks are here. They are in the evidence. They are on the Isle of Man. If it is your position that this is all the Isle of Man. And as you can see, all of this land here is very arable, rural. There is not much commerce on here whatsoever, and certainly no industry. So the only thing that you can possibly do, and it's not that difficult, is argue that this is Isle of Man, is produce the stacks. So, but what you have to notice is that the elevation of the land that's here, I mean, you can't quite see it because the band's covering it, but basically none of this land down here is high enough to be seen. It's all less than 50 feet, all of it. So that's not consistent with the evidence that we're seeing. So Sly, the conclusion to your point is I accept that this could be Isle of Man, and I accept that the tuft of trees that you've identified is probably these, could well be, not against it. But what's the rest of the land that's here? Because it's all dead flat as a pancake. There shouldn't be any land seen. So, and you all know my position with regards to this. I'm saying that there is a land match that matches on the south side of Scotland, because that appears to be the Mull of whatever lighthouse. Might not be. It might be a total coincidence. It is contentious, this stuff. So I'm not saying it as a matter of fact, but what I am saying is it does match. It matches the land profile. There just happens to be a lighthouse in exactly the right place. And it's not often that you get a perfect half moon shape of land. That appears to be Scotland. But what's the rest of the land? Where are the smokestacks? Come on, Sly, do a bit more analysis. Find me the smokestacks, because the smokestacks are in the photo. If you'd like the originals and you want to hang out with me to show you the evidence and send you the files, do so. But no, Sly, you've got this wrong. You've completely got the set of trees wrong. That is not the smokestacks that I've misidentified. And I would encourage you to remove that video because it's misleading. It's factually wrong. So that deals with Sly. And Gem Panda made a video as well, but there's nothing in it of any credibility other than that Ranty's lying, that Riley's lying, and Nathan's encouraging it. And between the three of us, we're all sophists and we're going to make the world end.
Just to keep me happy, just before...
I think Gem...
Go on.
I just have to pipe in real quick. I just have to make a quick business call. I'll be 3 minutes and then I'll be back. And awesome conversation.
Sure, man.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah,
Can you just do something just to satisfy me, please, Anthony? Just because you've... What's happening with these trolls is they're basically debating the right-hand side of the image, which is the north end of the island, and they are essentially ignoring all of the things that are tied down, all of the things that we do have positions for and are certain of, and instead going for the stuff that's contentious, which is closer. So it's the easy stuff for them.
Yeah.
Fine, but I just want to reiterate what we have found, what we have tied down, what we are absolutely certain of, because this isn't getting challenged. Nobody seems to be challenging it.
All right, so let me bring everybody else up to date with regards to the side that we do know what we are talking about on. I accept and we accept that the North is contentious. There is argument points there, and we can all agree. However, we know and all accept that Mackle Lighthouse, A, is present in the image, and B, it should be behind the curve. That's simple. The baller's position is that if I'm at 150 feet, then it might not be. And even at 150 feet, it's debatable about how much we should see. So I'm not at 150 feet. I'm at 52 feet as per your model. So this is Mackle Lighthouse, but there are arguments over the height, okay? So that's current and up to date. Now, as we move down the image, we get to the town identification of Ballacannel and Baldrine. Now, our position is that if we're going to go with this being Baldrine, then Ballacannel sits here at an elevation of 250 feet and is above my observer height, and that's why we can't see it. Can't see a road that you're below, and you can't see anything on the road because you're below it. You're looking up to it and you're blocked by the land itself. So if this is Baldrine, then this is Ballacannel. It's 250 feet compared to my 50 feet, and we can't see it because we're looking up to it. Matches the evidence. I'm not against that. I don't agree with it, but that seems to be the most plausible explanation for what we're looking at. This would therefore make Baldrine what we're seeing here, and there's a couple of other houses and whatnot. Again, I don't agree with this. This for me is Douglas because of this point here. This is my friend Tufter Trees. Tufter Trees lines up perfectly with the Tufter Trees on Douglas Head, and these lights here line up with Douglas Head as well. And then this is the head of Douglas. Thanks. This is the head of Douglas, and then Isle of Man stops somewhere around about here. Kind of, I think it's about here somewhere. There is no more Isle of Man. There appears to be two stacks there that look possibly like stacks that belong, could be in Dublin. Not saying they are, but there is stacks there, or appears to be. But from this point on, all of this down here is Isle of Man, with the exception of the diamond, which is Langness Lighthouse.
Just to correct you, all of that is island.
Langness Lighthouse.
All of it's island, not Isle of Man. So beyond the lighthouse where you've got your mouse now, it's island.
Sorry, I misspoke. So right. All of this land that's down here is island. That is our position. Now, the ballers are claiming that they've got this, that, and the other sorted, right? But none of them are able to give us the identity of these three lights. We can identify them, have identified them, and they have not changed. The ballers are yet to identify this because every time they do it, they run out of elevation that wasn't high enough for what they need to pick a high structure, which might be a farm or whatever, but they need to pick a high structure. But every time they pick the ones that are high, they're basically either behind the curve of the earth or they run out of height. There's no elevation left for them.
Well, one other thing you need to remember, at that sort of distance, you're not just looking for, like, a bungalow wouldn't show up, right? And a house is unlikely to show up at this sort of distance. What you're looking for is some substantial white buildings, something that would be big enough to be seen from 40 miles away, because that's what you have to find. And a normal house wouldn't even register on your camera.
There was one point in Jeremy's video where he claims that the Rumpus and Paul Voigt and a couple of other people have identified and done all this ratio and bearing calculations and all this nonsense. Well, if that comment is true, identifying these won't be difficult for them because they've calculated it. We've identified it by comparing the actual evidence to stuff that we can compare it to and line it up. So it's empirical by nature. But because what's his name, Nick with no L, thinks that maths is empirical, and it isn't. Maths is not empirical at all. It's academic. They all think that they've calculated the bearings and therefore have identified these buildings, yet none of them have compared it to the evidence, because every time they do compare it to the evidence, it doesn't match. We have compared it to the evidence, it does match, and unless they can prove it wrong, not calculate it wrong, prove it to be wrong, it stands. So that's the current position. We know what these lights are, they don't, and when we know what they are and they don't...
Hello?
Stands. So that's the... Hello? We know what these lights are, they don't.
Hello?
We know what they are, and they don't. Has he gone?
Yeah, I kicked him.
Yeah, you do have to speak, guys, but the point is, the overall conclusion point is that as it stands right now, we know what the lights are, they don't. They've calculated what the lights are and claim victory, but haven't proved it. They need to show what the lights are and show that it matches the evidence. If it doesn't match the evidence, it's wrong. It's that simple.
It's quite
We've
comical
identified
because
them.
What they try and do is they force the scale to make all of this Isle of Man, and every time they do it, it forces these lights to be next to a town, and there's no town there. So it's just comical every time they do it. But, you know, try as they might, they can't make the scale make it Isle of Man. That's the bottom line here. You can't force it to all be Isle of Man because it isn't. And if you do, nothing lines up.
The last time I saw anything to do with this from the ballers, because they're all on strike at the moment, which is fine. Rumpus identified these houses here as being the 3 lights. Then he changed his position because we reminded him that there was no evidence of a huge town called Baldrine immediately to the left, because there isn't. I'll show you again. There's the 3 lights that Rumpus initially identified. There is no town to the left. But in the real world, we see a whole town. So he then changed his position because he was, quote, and I quote, "I'm being informed I might have misidentified these." So he was being fed info in the background, probably on Discord, but whatever. He was being informed that he might have misidentified them. So what he then did was he moved his position up here somewhere, and he basically picked out one of these dots up here. But the problem with that is that they're basically behind, these sit in a layer of land that is behind these and are blocked. Some of them do, and the other ones that don't would be right on top of the land. And they're not right on top of the land, they're just below the top part of it. But again, there's a huge town that's supposed to be somewhere near here. And this is the result of their calculations, their mathematics, their bearing nonsense. But at the end of the day, if it doesn't match the evidence, it's wrong. I don't care how you've calculated it. I don't care what maths you've done. I don't care how intelligent you think you all are. I don't care whether you think maths is empirical or not. It isn't. If it doesn't match the real world, if it doesn't match the evidence, and you can point out things that are consistent with it, it's wrong. End of. So that's where we're currently at. We're waiting for them to come back to us with what they think these are. And I don't even care how they've done it. I don't want to sit through 45 minutes of mathematics to tell me what they think these are. Just tell us what these are, and let's see, does it line up with the Tufter Trees, with Douglas Head?
Jeff Dust, hello.
Oh, hello. It's Alan.
Sleeping.
Bye, Alan.
Yeah.
Alan sniped.
Alan
sniped everybody yesterday, and that's why he's not being given chance to speak. So, Jazz Condor, if you want to take over, you can. The mic is all yours.
No, I'm just saying I get what you were saying about the in the southern hemisphere and all that sort of thing, but I'm in the southern hemisphere. I'm just a few clicks of 45 degrees south, and we have twilight. It's 1 o'clock in the morning here. Twilight, evening civil twilight, finished about an hour and a half ago. So Invercargill, our lowest city in the South Island of New Zealand, the biggest city, has literally 2 to 3 hours of darkness between the 22nd and the 23rd of January. Literally, it's light. I've been there for it. It's not 24 hours of complete light, as it is in Norway or in the Arctic Circle, but that's because of the latitude. And I'm not saying that the Earth's flat. I'm not saying it's a globe, but what I'm saying is I don't even know what I'm saying. Can you help me to process what I'm trying to say?
Sure, it sounds like you're approaching the state of 24-hour light in the south. Is that what you're trying to drive at? Which would necessitate the sphere Earth, because...
No, not quite. In the Invercargill, our very lowest city, which would be, I think it's 42 degrees south, has on the summer solstice, the 22nd December, 3 hours of complete darkness. The rest it has like 6 or 7 hours of twilight.
Yeah, it sounds very similar to what we get here, the opposite latitude. So we get, in the height of summer, about 3 hours of darkness, and the sun goes down and continues to appear to move. That's not, it's hard to detail this verbally, but the twilight moves across the sky. It continues to appear to be going in a circle as it continues to set, until it gets to, I don't know, for me, it's pretty much, I'm going to say north when it's gone, and then, it comes up again 3 hours later. or starts to get light 3 hours later.
Yeah, but this happens only at the northernmost point and the southernmost point. Northernmost point being the summer and the southernmost being the winter, or vice versa for our.
Sure.
So this is that's what gets me. It just puts my head in a tangle.
No answers from us by the looks of things. that's the truth of the matter.
Hmm.
Everyone's still here.
Yeah, we're having a moment of contemplation about the sun.
Okay.
I think Jazz dropped as well.
She's there for a second.
Ahoy, hoy.
Hello, how you doing? Good to have you.
Hey, good to have you. Or wait, good to be here.
That's the one. I do the same.
What's up, man?
Sky, moon, sun, usual stuff.
Nice.
Refraction's up.
I'm here for moral support for Anthony because he's getting smoked by everyone. So
I don't need your moral support, Tim. I really don't. In
Well,
fact,
I'm
if you were
here
here
for
for my moral support, Tim, I'd rather you just leave.
Oh, come on. He's welcome.
No, he's a disingenuous piece of dirt.
No need for the ad homs. He's been here 30 seconds.
That's not nice. That's not nice. Come
Well,
on,
it is actually
play
true.
ball. He's coming to support you in your hour of need.
It's not my hour of need. I'm encouraging these guys to come in. Come and show me what these 3 lights are, gentlemen. I don't need Tim's support. Thanks for your offer, Tim, but I don't need it. I'd like a picture of your girly ankles, though. If you want to put them on camera, that'd be great.
Nathan, are you there?
I am.
You're very hostile, though, Anthony, to be fair.
Yeah, very hostile.
I just see Tim's games, that's all.
Sorry, Nathan, I just don't like interacting with people, but
Okay. Anything else to say, Jazzaconda?
you know, I was just saying, I called in. I called in early in the week with the concept of disproving orbital mechanics.
Yeah, and I addressed that, and you didn't want to listen. Should we go back to it? Do you want to pick Jupiter or do you want to pick Venus? Jazz?
Are you with it today, Jazz?
Well, like you just said, it's not picking Jupiter or anything. It's picking a spacecraft that can orbit the Earth.
Sure, but we can disprove orbital mechanics right now. Dead simple.
No, you can't. No,
Yeah,
you can't.
All you got to
No,
do is pick which way do you want to die. Do you want to die with Venus or do you want to die with Jupiter?
Other die with the Dragon X space capsule.
You're in
Yeah,
pseudoscience.
absolutely.
You're in pseudoscience. You're not in orbital mechanics.
What the fuck are you on?
Come on.
Try not
make
to
it
swear.
You want to discuss orbital mechanics, right? And I want to discuss either Venus or Jupiter because they are orbital mechanics. You want to discuss...
They are orbital mechanics that have been orbiting for thousands and millions of years. you're trying to disprove spaceflight, which is what I'm trying to say. If you can disprove spaceflight, then you
I'm
can
not trying to
disprove
disprove
orbital mechanics.
spaceflight. I'm responding to your claim about orbital mechanics. I'm not trying to disprove spaceflight. I class that as science fiction, and by definition, it's fiction. Therefore, it doesn't even need to be proven right or wrong. It's fiction. However, orbital mechanics was your point. So let's stay on orbital mechanics, and I'll disprove.
Orbital mechanics is my point of you proving that spaceflight doesn't exist.
Right, I can't prove that spaceflight doesn't exist with orbital mechanics. I can just prove that orbital mechanics.
How can you not prove spaceflight doesn't exist with orbital mechanics? It's not rocket science. You should be able to do that.
It is rocket science.
I can show you
what it is.
that orbital mechanics does not work, and we can use either Venus or Jupiter.
So if I show you that rocket science is rocket science, just for the clarity of the audience, rocket science is definitely rocket science. We're talking about rockets and their orbits. We're definitely talking about rocket science. Just wanted to point out that you said it's not rocket science, but it is specifically.
It is. That's why somehow we're using planets.
Sure,
so
but you said it's not rocket
Venus
science, but you want us to prove or disprove orbital mechanics using the science of rockets, which very specifically is rocket science, right? So when you said it's not rocket science,
it's not rocket science.
Yeah, it is. Specifically, that's what we're talking about, or what you want us to talk about. We want to talk about Jupiter or Venus, but you want to talk about rockets and then tell us it's not rocket science, which is to me comical.
I've just got to give a shout out.
Can you listen?
Just got to give a shout out. Just hang on one sec. Just hold the press. Leroy
hold
Zal.
The press. Can you listen to what you're actually saying?
Just hang on. Give me a sec. Leroy Zal asked me a question before, which was, did I pay Mark Taylor £1,000? And I said, go and get 10 subs and I'll tell you the answer. He's actually gone away. The sock's gone away, got 10 subs and then come back to me.
That's superb trolling right there, just to get an answer. That's excellent. He's holding you to your word. Good for you. What was that screen name? What's the screen name again?
That was really good. That was really good, Leroy Zal. So on that basis, I'll give you your answer as I said I would do. No, it's Mark that owes me the £1,000 the other way. So the answer to your question is no. But good trolling.
Good trolling. Top marks, Leroy.
Yeah.
It's not even trolling. It's just actual science.
So what do you want us to do? Lay it out for us. We won't interrupt you, Jazz. What is it specifically that you want us to do?
My question the other night, my statement was, if you can disprove orbital mechanics, then you have proof that there is no way for a mass to orbit a spherical object.
Okay. And then, all right, so we're at a point where you have a choice and we can disprove orbital mechanics in one of two ways. And I want you to pick it so that we can't pick Venus,
give me
Jupiter.
No. You can't pick two planets. You can only pick one. All
right, Nath, do you want to have a go with this?
Go for it.
I don't know. No, not really. If I'm honest.
All right. Let's go with Jupiter. I'll make the choice for you, but you can't use it against me at the end. You can't
choose Jupiter as orbital mechanics. You're trying to say that space is fake, that we can't have an object, a man-made object, orbit the Earth.
Right.
400 tons.
All right, let's go.
Can't happen.
Let's go.
So you can't use. No, you can't use a planet.
Why not?
Because Jupiter's fucking 16 million tons.
Try not to swear, Jazz.
Well, Jupiter orbits.
You can't use Jupiter's 16 freaking tons.
Jazz, Jupiter orbits the sun, right?
Does orbit the sun, but that's not what orbital mechanics is in the sense that what I'm trying to say is I'm trying to get you to prove that space flight is fake.
Right.
And you can't do that.
Show you that orbital mechanics doesn't work in the solar system. I'm not making any.
So like on Dragon's Den, I'm one of the dragons on Dragon's Den, and you're trying to prove to me. You're trying to prove to me right now that humans have nothing to do with space.
Right.
Go.
You're asking me to prove a negative, right? Is that the position? You want me to prove that there is no space flight? No,
Isn't that
that's
what
what
you do
you're trying to prove. That's
Right.
what you're trying to prove that man has done. So you think space is fake. I'm just asking you to prove what you're trying to say.
Right.
Is
And I
that
can
space is fake. Go.
I can prove that orbital mechanics does not do what you think it does, but you won't let me do it with Jupiter. So maybe if I did it with Venus, would you accept Venus instead?
Okay.
I can't prove rockets don't work in space.
Hang on. Sleeping. Okay. What are your sales that Jupiter can do this?
What are my sales?
What are your sales that Jupiter can do what you're trying to pull off?
I don't even know what that word means. What are my sales?
Yeah, I don't either. Is this guy drunk or what? What's wrong with you, Jazz?
I am drunk, and I'm being a fucking dragon.
You're not
In
cussed?
business terms.
It's your last warning. Don't swear, Jazz, or I'll have to boot you. I don't want to, but please don't swear.
Sorry, Nathan. What I'm trying to be is a dragon on Dragon's Den. I'm trying to say to you that you have.
Do we need to show you what dragons on Dragon's Den do and how they do it? Because I don't think you do
I watch
very good
Dragon's Den every day, all day.
Because you're not being like a dragon on Dragon's Den. You're being like a drunk sat in his armchair at the minute.
You got dragon breath.
No, I'm not. I'm being like David Jones.
All right. So can we use Venus then? Can we use Venus?
Okay. How can you use Venus and your sales to pitch that the world's flat? How can you do that?
Let's use Venus to describe.
Sleeping. Have you got prior sales? In that concept to use that the world's flat?
Yeah, what's your projections for Venus? Come on, let's see your annual projections for Venus, Sleeping.
Nathan, you've seen Dragon's Den.
Oh, right, okay. All right, so you're... Right, all right, so, right, get this.
Have you got a history of profit with this example?
Do you agree, Jazz, that when the Earth rotates and the sun goes down because of the Earth's rotation, once the sun is dropped below the horizon, we would then be looking out towards Pluto rather than towards the sun?
I'm going to be Deborah Meaden right here, all right? So I'm just going to check.
It was a yes or a no question. Come on.
It is going to be a yes or no question.
Do you agree that when the sun drops behind the horizon, that we would then start looking towards Pluto rather than the sun?
Why would I believe in your sales?
Logic and reason.
You give me one reason why I believe in your sales.
You're right. We don't use logic and reason. We use evidence. But as there is no evidence to use here,
you don't
logic and reason.
You don't use evidence. You don't use sales. That's why I'm out. I'm not investing in you.
You're fired. You're fired, Jazz. You're a very bad employee.
Right.
Disgraceful.
Yeah, the spreadsheets weren't up to scratch on that one, Anthony. I've got to agree with Jazz.
I want to hear the next investor.
The next investor, right, Nathan? That would be you then, Nathan. Do you want to have a go at your pitch?
No, I don't.
I'm
I don't want you as an investor.
Sorry.
I don't want you investing.
I'm terribly sorry.
That's his third offence, Nathan. He's got to go.
I haven't been swearing. Come on.
I didn't hear him swear that time.
I didn't hear him, to be fair.
I was talking.
That's how he said the F-bomb.
I didn't
Jazz.
say the F-bomb, I said the frig bomb.
That was great. You've made my day, mate.
Don't block me, man.
I'm not blocking you. You're brilliant.
You can come back tomorrow, but you've sworn 3 times after being...
come on.
I didn't.
I'm enjoying this.
Oh, I've got to boot you now. You've muted Tim. Don't mute people, Jazz. You did get 3 warnings. But that
It's
was
funny
brilliant.
though, because
Thank
when
you.
when the
Hope you come back
Australians come
tomorrow.
on, obviously we're early morning, they're late at night, so they're after midnight. But we're like, so they're at the end of their day, winding down, having a spliff, whatever. We're all like bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, talking about nonsense, and you can tell that they're a world apart because they're just so lethargic and so tired. But Tim, why are you up so early? I mean, it must be what, 7, 8 o'clock for you? You wet the bed?
That's like 5.
Whoa.
So you've actually got out of bed to come on Nathan's show.
I just woke up early today.
So does the protest not apply to Tim Osman?
Oh, I haven't been on in a while.
I know, what you do realise that they're all on protest at the minute. They're all marching outside with placards. Down with Nathan. Down with Nathan. Setting fire
I
to
like
cars.
Nathan. Can't help it.
Setting fire to cars. Tipping over cars. Tim, do you think maths is empirical? Mathematics.
Sure.
Can you give an example of where mathematics is empirical?
When it's observable and repeatable.
Okay. Can you give an example where maths is empirical?
I'm actually here to not answer any of your questions, actually.
Oh, right. Okay.
Because really...
Sorry, I forgot that you don't bring evidence to the table.
Yeah.
Logic and
No,
reason.
I'm just wondering, is there anything that's going to make you be able to see that you're wrong about this Isle of Man thing?
Yeah, evidence.
So somebody has to refute your negative evidence, right?
All right, for the benefit of Tim, I'll share my screen and I'll show you what it would take for me to accept that I've got it wrong.
Which part's contentious? The whole of it, or just the north, or is it the south? Is it the Scotland
Truthfully,
stuff?
I haven't been. I could care less, guys. You guys have talked about this for 50 shows now, and it was tufts of trees, and then it was, hey, look at these smokestacks, and then it was Ireland, and it was Scotland, it was this and that. I just don't have time for those kinds
All right,
of things.
Tim, to answer your question, what would it take for me to accept that I was wrong? It would take somebody on the baller side to identify these lights, tell us what they are, and show that they relate to this tuft of trees and this patch of land, and then to the right. That's what it would take. So they can calculate the bearings, they can calculate the pixels, they can do whatever they want. We've identified these, and they match. They line up perfectly with the evidence, and that's disagreed. So what it would take would be for an alternative explanation of what these are, and then show, relative to the evidence, that they match. If it doesn't match, it's wrong. That's what it would take.
Isn't the burden of proof on you to prove that it is what you're saying it is? Because you're the one with the supposed evidence.
Yep. I think we have done. I mean, we did it right at the very beginning with Mackle Lighthouse. I mean, Jeremy came on the show and said that this was Mackle Lighthouse, and he said that, and we agreed. And what he said was, why isn't there enough rocks underneath it? And then we reminded him that the actual thing was there. That's where the curvature of the Earth should be. So, you know, I forgot what your question was now. I'm sorry.
But on that note, Tim, I would like your opinion, because geographically we can't see that lighthouse. That's, a fact that everyone agrees on. The only fact probably that everyone agrees on, if I'm honest. But the fact remains that is not there on the heliocentric model. So do you accept that we are seeing a holographic representation of this lighthouse, or do you accept that we just see it?
Well, let's get it right first. Let's not call it the heliocentric model. Let's just call it the sphere model, because it could be geo or helio, right?
Fair enough. Yeah. On the sphere model, would you accept that if we have a sphere that is 24,900 miles in circumference, that we do not have line of sight with this lighthouse? Therefore, we cannot see it. It is physically impossible to see on the sphere.
Well, if you're saying we don't have line of sight, then you're saying it's physically impossible. Well, I would say if we see it just like on your flat Earth, right?
Yeah, I'd agree. We see
Doesn't
it because
matter
it's
if
there.
there's refraction or there's some looming or whatever, because we both know that happens on the sphere Earth, or on Earth. Let's just say on Earth. Right? It does happen.
Sure. However, as I say, geometrically, we cannot see this on the sphere. It is not there. We do not have line of sight with it. It is physically impossible to see because there is 169 foot of earth wall blocking our view, and it is approximately 600 feet behind a drop of earth curve. Therefore, we cannot see it on your sphere. Do you accept that or not?
No, because if we see it, and like I know the Earth is a sphere, then we see it and we have line of sight with it, no matter if there's looming or if there's refraction.
Well, sorry to correct you, but you are in fact wrong. We do not have line of sight with this lighthouse on the sphere. It is not there. It is a geometric impossibility to be there. If you are now going to say, but we do have bendy light, then you are in essence accepting that it is a holographic representation of something that is not there.
So do I need to bring up, let's just say one example, Joshua Nowicki from Chicago skyline. Obviously, there are refraction and these issues that happen on Earth when there's temperature inversions. So do we both agree that there are temperature inversions on the Earth, no matter if it's a sphere or flat?
I don't mind agreeing or disagreeing to the whys and wherefores of how holographic projections work on a sphere Earth, but first I want a concession that on the sphere Earth it is a geometric impossibility to see this lighthouse. Once we have that concession, I think we can move on.
Okay, let me concede to that and say without any kind of temperature inversion or refraction, we wouldn't be able to see it.
Okay, so what you're saying is we are seeing it because there is a temperature inversion that is causing this lighthouse to be loomed up from where it is not visible. Is that your position then?
I'm not going to say it as an absolute because I really haven't studied into the matter, but that would be the only explanation on the sphere Earth. I'll just say that.
No problem. So that is the consensus we have agreed during the debates. So the conclusion is as follows. If you want to believe that you are on a sphere, you have to accept that it is a slightly looming non-standard refraction effect that is looming this lighthouse into view because it is a geometric impossibility to see it. However, on the flat Earth, we see it because we do have line of sight and it is there.
Well, you can say that, but we only, like I said, I don't know, 40 shows ago, we only have one observation of this whole St. Bees in showing this. So
No, we don't.
it's kind of like, well,
We have to.
Oh, well, two. I mean, give me a break, dude. It's kind of like the Joshua Nowicki video where, you know, on a normal day, you don't see as much as he saw on that day. That's why it was on the news, because it was a very rare event. So it's like comparing that day with as if it happens every day, in my opinion. Because I don't live over there. I have no that I can take more of a preponderance in, to quote Bobby Boy, than just one or two observations. And that would be things like the star trails, things like the equinoxes, things that, you know, knowing that the spherical model works.
Sure, and we can accept that. We can also accept that in order to accept those things, you must accept that you cannot see this thing and it is geometrically impossible to do so. So, you know, we're all in agreement. It's all good. Everyone's entitled to their beliefs. If people want to believe in slightly looming non-standard refraction that necessitates things that are not there to be there, then that's fine by me. People can, believe whatever they like.
So I guess I will pull up the Joshua Nowicki then. Because like I just said, not on every day can you see this. So on a normal day, you're not going to be able to see that, right?
Right.
So
well, Miles Davis and Al Kay went back and they couldn't see it.
Well, that they had bad. I mean, they said this from the beginning, dude, and they're kind of playing with you or something. But they said that from the beginning that they just didn't have a very good atmospheric day. Basically, they didn't have as good.
That's the whole basis that my claim is based on, though, having a good atmospheric condition. Clear was the word I used.
Yeah, clear a day, see more. Simple.
Yeah, so like in this time lapse, right, on the sphere Earth or wherever we live, normally these buildings are being obstructed So on this day, when you can see that there is looming, there is what they call a superior mirage happening, buildings from beyond the horizon start to be stretched upwards like these buildings are. So we have evidence of this being possible on this, or on the Earth, let's just say the Earth. There are buildings right here now that we couldn't see before prior in the time lapse. So we have evidence of this. So, I mean, I don't, do you deny that, or do you think
No,
this is
not at all.
fake?
We have the same effect in the Isle of Man imagery. So on the right-hand side of the island, we have exactly the same effect. And like with the Isle of Man imagery, people from the globe side, no offence, sphere side for yourself, want to argue about the bits that are riddled with refraction and closer to us. Whereas in the case of the left-hand side of the image, we have the Morgold lighthouse at 31 miles, and then the image retains its clarity down to 51 miles along the length of the image, and we can identify landmarks that on a flat Earth we would sit below and we are looking up at, as is absolutely the case in the photography. However, that would be, again, geometrically impossible even if the item was being loomed up, for you to be both below and above something at the same time. That's impossible.
How do you justify that that's impossible?
So, in order to be above the town, I've forgotten the name, I think it's called Baldrine, if you were above it, you would see down on it, which would be the case if it was being loomed up from behind a curve. You are physically above that town on the sphere Earth. There's no two ways about that. Whereas on the flat Earth, you are not. The town literally, in terms of its elevation, is above you. Therefore, you are looking up at it. And that is represented in the photography. We are indeed looking up at a town, and therefore it is obscured by a hill. You can only see the tops of the lights, because you're below it.
So let me make a point here real quick. Do you see how the horizon is below eye level in this picture?
I can.
What do you think about that? Is that fair for me to use it like this?
You can use whatever you like. I mean, I have an example of the horizon being below me in my town. So there is a certain hill where the lay of the land is such that the virtual horizon is considerably lower than you would expect it to be in reality. It's not really the horizon, it's just the lay of the land and the way it looks. And this in itself, from ground level, I mean, we're about 250 feet above sea level here in the centre of England, but you still have the same effect that Chris demonstrated at altitude, with the sun setting on the eye level horizon, regardless of where the land is situated. So we have an artificial, if you want to call it that, virtual horizon, which could be anywhere depending on perspective and geographical topology. But the actual horizon always remains at eye level.
So, really, in reality, the horizon doesn't rise to eye level. And I was trying to make a point here in that it's silly, as I have just done on purpose, to bring up a photo or a video like this and say, well, look, here's proof that it doesn't rise to eye level.
Jason,
Just
hello?
How you doing, Jason?
as Chris Monk did.
1 second.
Hello?
How you doing,
Because-
Jason? Can you say hello?
Jason?
Hello? Sorry about that, Tim. You carry on.
I was just saying, it would be unfair for me to use evidence that the horizon doesn't rise to eye level on a high altitude, as I just did, as it is unfair for Chris Monk to use a picture and say, hey, look, it's rising to eye level. Okay, because obviously we should note that we need to have the camera 90 degrees parallel to the ground. And how are you going to prove that it's 90 degrees parallel to the ground when it's a free-floating camera in high altitude? That was the point I was trying to make.
I agree with you.
I mean,
You can't
I'm
verify
very
that.
surprised that he used that yesterday. Truthfully.
I didn't,
He's a
but
smart dude,
I agree
but
with you. I fundamentally agree. You cannot verify and validate the position and angle of that camera when it's on a balloon. So, no, I agree with you. However, as I say, there are examples of it that can be obtained from the ground with the same effect of a virtual horizon being lower than the actual horizon. This is something I've done. There is an example, not a great one, admittedly, filmed on a camera phone, very shaky footage, but of exactly that, the sun setting on the actual horizon, regardless of where the land is. I mean, I intend to get this in a much better quality, because for me it's a flat earth proof. If the sun is going around the earth, the topology is what blocks the sun. In other words, what I am calling the virtual horizon would absolutely be the thing that the sun sets behind. And because the lay of the land is lower than the actual horizon, the sun sets mid-air.
would you guys be against renting out a theodolite? I mean, it would be, I think it's in the UK, like $40 for a week. Pretty sure that you would be able to prove to yourselves that the horizon doesn't rise to eye level. And if you want to call it, that it's virtual and one's fake and one's real and redefine everything, then, whatever. But I'm just saying it doesn't rise to eye level.
I mean, I think you're right. It's certainly an interesting thing to look at. But in terms of geodetic surveying equipment, the thing I'd be more interested in doing would be getting an actual surveyor to survey the Isle of Man. Hello, Earth Flattener.
Nice.
Good to have you. How you doing?
Hi there.
Good to see you.
I'm fine.
That, is beyond my budget, but is certainly something that, hopefully, so long as we continue to talk about the Isle of Man, it will generate more interest, and that's something that may come in the future. As I say, we don't have an infinitesimal budget.
That's cool. Also, the whole thing about the star trails, they're being too celestial point. I've been talking about that for over 3 years now. People need to understand that as a point for the sphere model. And I would love for somebody like Riley to go out and disprove the 69 miles in 1 degree, or disprove that these of our world are. It would be very helpful for a person like me to take you guys seriously.
I could do that right now if you want. Do you want me to do that right now? So we've done this already. So if you check out Flat Earth, the Earth is obviously and observably flat, QED video. It has Chris Monk demonstrate on a model that is 24,900 miles in circumference what would be seen from Anthony's position at St. Bees. So as he rotates the camera left and right, you can see that the Earth falls away from you at exactly the measurements you would expect if you were on a sphere 24,900 miles in circumference. But we don't see that. That's not what we observe.
But the other thing is, though, I've called you on this, Tim. I've actually asked you to prove that the stars do in fact move 1 degree with 69 miles of movement. You're the one that makes that assertion based on your model. I accept on your model it works, but I don't accept that there's any evidence whatsoever that it works in real world. I'm a moron. Can you speak, please?
Good soundbite.
Yeah. So the evidence for the assertion to be true in real world is lacking, Tim. I accept it works on your model, but I don't accept it works in real world, because there is time-lapse photography of pilots flying all around the world, and the stars don't move up and down the way you say they do. Stars appear to be fixed in the sky. They spin left to right on a circular motion, but they don't move up and down when they're flying across continents.
I think there was one Globebusters video that they were proven wrong on. I don't think that you have many evidences of that. And do you see how you basically accept any evidence that goes with your confirmation bias? And
Yeah, but you're the one that's supposed to be proving it, though, not me.
No, I don't need to prove it. You guys are saying the Earth is freaking flat, dude.
No, you're the one that asserts that for every 69 miles of movement, we get the stars moving by 1 degree. I call BS.
It's no. Well, if you call BS, okay, that's your assertion. Then prove it.
No,
Riley.
Your assertion that it does it. I say it doesn't.
I don't need to prove anything to anyone, dude. No, I don't.
Because you make nonsense assertions, Tim.
Well, they're nonsense to you because you deny them prima facie, basically, dude.
No, I accept them prima facie. I don't accept them evidentially.
I wish that you would disprove it, brother. That's all I'm saying, right? You can say that.
Dude.
Okay, well, the assertion is backed by science, and that
Don't
means
say what
that
it's
there
backed
are
by.
practical people, amateurs, there are professionals that do this every day, dude.
Hey,
And
AC, how
they
you doing?
use this.
Hello.
Hey, I guess I'm gonna get kicked out or something, but I'm just gonna talk. That picture that that was shown to us by I forgot his name. What's his name? The guy that's disputing the flat Earth.
Oh, Tim.
Timmy Osmond?
Yeah, you. Sorry, yeah. Yeah. That picture that you were showing us, where you see the horizon below us, that was a fisheye lens, right? I mean, we agree with that, or
Well,
are
I
you
pulled up
ignoring
the
that?
first. Well, that's really
Okay, so you don't.
ignored.
That's no. Okay, so another thing is that you're saying that we just have one picture of Isle of Man, but as Shadow Warrior said the other day, we have to share one P900 between 5 or 6 guys. You know, so it's happening little by little, and it takes
Why do you have to
time. And you
share a
see,
P900? Is that my problem?
you kind of well listen to previous shows, and you'll understand why I'm saying that. But you have to understand that, and I think you're getting it. I do think you're getting it because you sound a little more confused now about it. You say you believe in the ball Earth, but you sound kind of like
Do you
you're
know
like,
who
yeah,
you're
but you know,
talking to, dude?
yeah, I do. I forgot your name because I'm nervous. I'm on the air. You know, I'm not
How
used to
pretentious
this.
are you, Tim? Do you know who you're speaking to? Come on.
No, that's cool. It's fine. I made my points, and I think you're getting it. And that's all I wanted to say. Yeah.
I think that's the best line of the show. Do you know who you're speaking to? That's good
Well, I
sound.
mean, you know what? I hope you say that. It's like this isn't my first rodeo. You know, I mean,
I know.
Yeah.
But I
yeah.
love,
I've been around
It's
for over
like
3
you're.
years.
Yeah,
I love
but
the
it's you
elevation.
sound like you're in murky waters. Like it's getting a little foggy for you, you know, and you seem to be a little less confident than you were 20 shows ago or whatever, where you were like really being harsh and talking about the stars and you know how the North Pole and all this, you know, or the North Star isn't always in the same spot. Like you were very confident about it, you know, but now you're
What am I
different.
not confident about?
That's it.
Let's go over that.
I was going to say, he seems
Just listen
perfectly
to this.
confident.
Just listen to this. I've listened to you. I've never, you know, talked over you or anything because I've never been on the same show. So I've just analyzed what you say, how you say it, how you go about it, how you just like your girly ankles, you know, while you're talking, not caring. But now you just
Shut
seem
up,
different. That's all.
Got a fan, Tim. Check it out.
That's all. Yeah.
He obviously listens.
I don't know what he's talking about.
3 times a day. You know, 3. I listen to each show probably a minimum of 3 times. You know. So yeah.
Well, let me
For
just
sure.
say that I'm very confident. I'm very confident that the spherical model works. Not only that,
Yeah.
I'm very confident still that the Earth is a sphere, especially with the Isle of Man photography. So I really don't know what you're talking about, if you're trolling me or what. But
It's fair to say that you don't believe it because it's just one picture. But in time, when more people do this research, it'll get better and better, you know, and that's all we can hope for and expect. And it's
I encourage
understandable
that.
that the sphere, it's understandable because everybody does. So why wouldn't you, you know? And that's okay too, you know.
I have no problem with the Earth being flat. That's what people don't understand. I just really was out for truth, and I don't find any truth in the flat Earth.
Yeah, and I don't have a problem with you being a fantasist and thinking that you can see what you clearly cannot see on the ball Earth. That's okay. That's like religious people who believe in God and all this stuff.
I've heard this
It's all
rhetoric
nonsense,
before.
but
You can continue, but I've heard this rhetoric before.
I'm
It's
liking this
cute,
guy.
I
This guy
guess.
can come again.
It is
and you will
rhetoric.
continue to hear it because that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, it's our rhetoric. It's like the difference between our rhetoric is we see it because it's there. Your rhetoric is it's slightly looming non-standard refraction hyena holograms.
I love it because it's there. It's just 'cause it's there. It's beautiful. There's, you know, no explanation needed. Nothing beyond that.
Okay.
like this. You sound like this. You hear how you say okay and just how you are. I like it. It's really cool. It's really cool because I feel like you're listening, whether you don't have any facts or details, you know, and if that doesn't matter, you know, it's just the fact that you're not.
I'd like to echo his words as well. I mean, Tim does come on and make assertions and then refuses to present any evidence whatsoever. I mean, that's first class like show material, that Tim, especially on a debate channel.
Well, we're taught what we're taught, you know, and we believe, and we hope we're not being about everything, you know. So if he believes something without firsthand knowledge of it, it's kind of understandable because that's how we're trained to be. You know, I mean, he's showing these pictures saying that the horizon is below our eye level or whatever, but it's clearly a fisheye lens, you know, but he still
I think
accepts it.
I think Nathan understood the point that was being made when I brought that up.
Yeah, I've got to
so
agree.
if you want me to,
Yeah, well,
you can.
The fisheye
you
not
can
to do
bring
with
up
it. Unfortunately,
You can look
I
at
want to agree with you. But...
you can look at rectilinear lenses too, with the same example. I was making an example, calling out Chris Monk for what he did yesterday. It wasn't about that the horizon was to eye level or not. I'm saying that it's not fair to use that.
Hiya,
so you missed the point.
Hello?
Hello? That's Negator. How you doing, Negator? Yep. Can you hear us?
Yep.
Negator often just posts stuff in the side chat, so maybe he just wants to type something out. We'll leave him to it.
Yeah,
he might be at work.
Speak.
Don't boot him.
Can you hear me?
What's up, Negs?
Oh.
Hello.
Is he there?
Yeah, I've got it. Sorry, just
Sounded
before
like
Tim's point's lost, I've got to agree with him. So, you know, there's no... No, we can't hear you. There's no verification in what Chris showed. We can't prove what's centre of frame. We can't prove that it's tied to 90 degrees. We can't prove any of that stuff. You know, so I've got to agree. In terms of the fisheye lens and where it forces the horizon to be, again, I don't agree with that either. There is a virtual horizon. Whoops.
But then, if you agree with Tim's point there, then surely you agree with my point when I request information or evidence from Tim that the stars move by 1 degree every 69 miles of travel. You would agree that the failure to produce that evidence means that we can't accept his point either.
Now look, I've always come on and told people that I actually have a lot of evidence on hard drives and stuff that I've never, ever presented, and I will never. But I will say I will point people in the right direction. If they are truth seekers, as they claim to be, they will verify what I'm saying. Right?
Well, I've got a picture
of
that matters from space on my hard drive.
You're missing the point. I'm telling you that I'm not going to come on. I'm not here to come and present evidence.
Yeah, but you are calling somebody out based on evidence. Yet when you get called out based on your lack of evidence, you seem to think that that's different somehow.
No, not at all.
So
I'm telling you, I'm being upfront. I'm being upfront and saying that I'm pointing you in the right direction. If you're a truth seeker, then you would go out and disprove that. And then to a person like me would look at your evidence disproving that, and I would be like, well, that's a problem for the sphere Earth. Then I would investigate that. But you don't do that.
That's simply not true at all. That's exactly what we do.
Well, no. How long have we talked about stars? How long have we talked about the 69 miles? You've never done anything about that, ever.
Because you're the one with the assertion that you travel 69 miles.
That's not the point. Do you understand that it's not the point? You're the one with the extraordinary claim.
Call Chris Monk out. You can't call Chris Monk out if you're not going to produce evidence yourself to assert your claim to be true.
I actually called him out, and Nathan agrees that I can't say that it's below the horizon as much as he says that it's at horizon. That was the point. It wasn't that it was a...
I'm calling you for what evidence that you've got that proves that the stars move up or down by a degree when you travel 69 miles.
Okay, that's fair. You called me out.
Great.
And then what?
Have you got any evidence to prove that your assertion is correct?
I've already said it several times that I'm not here to provide evidence in that fashion. I can point you in the right direction as for the spherical Earth, but you're not really interested in that. You're interested in the debate, you're interested in semantics, you're interested in everything else, but proving what you're trying to prove.
Evidence, Tim.
So let me ask you this. If the Earth turns out to be a sphere and you've done all this debating and all this kind of stuff, will it be in vain?
Of course, because if it turns out to be a sphere, then factually it would be a sphere. They
And
would all
you've
be
been
lost time.
fighting for the wrong side and being biased for the wrong side for a long time and lying to people for a long time, right?
Well, not lying. Do you think that I'm being dishonest and trying to deceive people?
Yes, I do, Riley.
Do you have any evidence for that assertion either?
Yeah. Actually, it's you post your evidence on Nathan's channel daily of your dishonesty.
Okay, so can you reference any particular part of it where you think I've
Hold on. Is Negs here? No.
I believe so. Positor.
Positor?
Yeah.
He's just got
You hear
mic
Negs?
issues.
Did you want to say something?
saying, can you not hear me? 1 sec. So
My mic is messed up for some reason. I'm working on it.
Gotcha.
Got about 3 minutes before we wrap up the show, Neg.
I think it's dishonest that you're supposedly doing science observations, and I hear you blowing into it, I believe, Negs, and you won't even provide an accurate number of how high you were that day or your information. You want everybody to disprove your claims, but you won't provide the simplest evidence for how high you were.
So let's deal with the height part first. What would you expect me to do to prove my height if using Google Earth to reference my height is not acceptable all of a sudden?
All right, how about now?
Yeah. We can hear you.
Yeah. Okay.
How about your metadata? But go ahead, Negs.
I'm prepared to release the metadata on two conditions.
Then do it.
One,
No conditions. If you're not going to do it, you're not going to do it. No. Then nobody's going to meet your conditions. It's not demands. You're not kind of a.
Hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can. You got about a minute to maybe get your words in.
You say what you want to say.
Easy experiment, a cheap one you can do to see whether the horizon's at eye level. All you have to do is on your tripod, level it up with the levels on the actual tripod head, level it, and then if you have to tilt the camera down to see the horizon, that will prove it.
Yeah, that's true on the ground, but the point that Tim Osmond's made is that when you take balloon footage and reference the eye level horizon, you've got no way of proving that because you can't do that. That's his point.
I mean, on a
You
tripod.
prove that it's 90 degrees parallel to the ground.
Yeah, you can do it. It's simple to do. I mean, you've got the levels on your tripod head. I mean, I can show you. I'll show you.
I agree. I think we all agree that's true on the ground.
Yeah, but your tripod's on the ground, isn't it?
Yeah, but balloon footage that's referenced regularly isn't. That's the point.
Yeah, the balloon footage has no reference for down. That's what.
Exactly, Neg.
Yeah.
So you don't know
No,
what down
it's
is.
just as you're saying, if you're standing looking towards your horizons at eye level, but if you're 6 foot tall, you're going to be looking down anyway.
Down imperceptibly. The amount you look down is not something you could make
No,
out.
not you. I mean, if you look parallel, you'd look above the horizon, wouldn't you?
Anywho, I mean, there's more precise devices than camera tripods that can measure the down.
Yeah, I know. It's just a sort of simple thing. You know what I was thinking.
Hey Tim, it was good to hear you on this show. Hopefully you can keep coming on because I like the way you make your points. You're very strong, you know. And if you listen to the other people's point of view, I think it'll be for some great shows.
I'd like to just.
Yeah, you don't understand. You don't understand that I've heard it all, though. This is the thing. I listen to Nathan every day. I like Nathan.
And with that excellent compliment, I'm going to say a massive, huge, enormous thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and hopefully sharing this show. If you've not done so already, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all. You're going to help me with my ending. I will see you all in the next video.